everybody stand. Miss Dion, kindly lead the prayer. Okay, good morning class. You may now take your seats. So who are absent for today? Class secretary, kindly list down the absentees. So do you have any assignments? None? Okay, what was our topic yesterday? Okay, our topic yesterday was about the pronouns. Now before we'll go on with the next topic, which will be our topic for today, let us have first an activity. So I will group you into three. Let us start the count off. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Groups 1 and 2 shall be seated in front, and the remaining groups, group 3, shall be seated at the back. So here are the worksheets. We have for the group 1, group 2, and group 3. For the direction, we have decode each letter by solving the following simple mathematical problems and convert what is its corresponding letter on the table below. So the questions are already on your worksheets. So, at the count of 5, you shall be at your respective seats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I will only give you 5 minutes to prepare. And after that, we are going to check your outputs. So, the first group to finish the task will be given points. Your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, we have our winner. We have the group 1. Let us give them a warm round of applause. Okay, so the answers are the active and the passive. The words active and passive. Now, our topic for today will be about the active and the passive voices. But before we will go on further, let me first introduce to you the objectives for today's lesson. Please read. Identify the given sentences, whether it is an active voice or a passive voice, and transform the given sentences into passive or active voice. Now, what are these two voices, and how do they differ? Sentences contain subject and action. When we say subject, it refers to, yes, very good. Subject refers to the person or thing that the sentence is about, while action refers to, yes, action refers to what the subject is doing. Now, when a sentence is written, it can either be written in active voice or in passive voice. Now, what are these two voices, and how do they differ? When a sentence is in active voice, the subject is performing the action. For example, I swim. So in this sentence, the subject is, very good, the subject is I, and the action is swim. When a sentence is in active voice, subject typically comes first before the action. Again, when a sentence is in active voice, the subject comes first before the action. Now, how about the passive voice? When a sentence is in passive voice, the subject is no longer performing the action, or is no longer the doer of the action, but the recipient of the action. For example, swimming is something I do. So in this sentence, the action or the verb is, very good, swimming, and the subject is I. So in passive voice, the action comes first before the subject, unlike in active voice, the subject comes first before the action. So that is the difference between the two, the active and the passive voices. Now, Some sentences may contain objects. What is an object? Okay, very good. Object is the thing that is being acted upon. Now, I have here two sentences with the same message but was written into two different voices. So, the first sentence is read, Anna hits the ball. So, the second sentence is read, the ball is hit by Anna. So, what have you observed between these two sentences? Okay, very good. The first sentence, the subject comes first, followed by the action or the verb, and lastly, the object. While in the second sentence, the object comes first, followed by the verb or the action, and lastly, the subject, right? So, like what I said earlier, when a sentence is in active voice, the subject comes first before the action. While if a sentence is in passive voice, the action comes first before the subject. So therefore, the first sentence is an example of, very good, it is an example of active voice since the subject, which is Anna, comes first before the action, which is hits. And the second sentence is an example of, very good, it is an example of passive voice since the action comes first before the subject. Now, there are some tips to recognize if a sentence is in passive voice. Now, in order for you to recognize, you may take a look at these keywords. Okay, please read. Thank you. So, if ever you found these keywords in a sentence or in sentences, then you've been given a hint that the sentence is in passive voice. Now, let us move on to how to change voice from passive to active and vice versa. Now, we have some steps to follow in order to change voice from passive to active or from active to passive. Now, we have the step 1 we have is read, identify the subject. So, in this sentence, the tire was changed by Tom. The subject is, very good, the subject is Tom. Now, since we already identified the subject, we have to move on to step 2, which is read, rewrite the sentence. So, we can easily recognize that this sentence is in passive voice since the keywords was and by were being used. So, the trigger words or the keywords was and by was used. So, we can easily identify or recognize that this sentence is in passive voice. So, we are going to rewrite the sentence and transform it into an active form of sentence. So, if we are going to transform it into an active form of sentence, the subject should come first before the action. So, it will be changed into Tom changed the tire. Next, we have change active voice to passive voice. So, the first sentence we have is read, the girl recited the poem beautifully. So, the subject is, very good, the subject is the girl, and the action or the verb is recited. So, we are going to transform it into a passive form of sentence so that the subject should come last and the action should come first. Okay, it will be transformed into the poem was beautifully recited by the girl. For the next sentence we have is read, the guests enjoyed the party. So the subject is, very good, the subject is the guest. And the action or the verb is enjoyed. So it will be changed into the party was enjoyed by the guest. So in this second sentence now, we have the action come first before the subject. Now, are you ready for the next activity? Okay, with the same group as earlier, I have here another worksheets. This is for group 1, for group 2, and for group 3. So, I will only give you 5 minutes to answer the questions, and after that, you choose a representative from your group to present your outputs in front. So, your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, let us give yourselves a warm round of applause. Now let us check the work of group 1. For the group 1, identify the given sentences whether it is in active or passive voice. For the number 1, please read, the guests enjoyed the party. So it is an example of, yes, it is an example of an active voice since the subject, which is the guest, comes first before the action, which is, yes, very good, enjoyed. For the item number 2, please read, they are painting the wall. So where is the subject? Very good, the subject is they, and the action or the verb is painting. So in this sentence, the subject comes first before the action, therefore it is, yes, it is an active voice. For the number 3, please read, the poem was beautifully recited by the girl. So the subject is, very good, the girl, while the action or the verb is recited. So this is an example of, yes, it is a passive voice since the action comes first before the subject. Now let us move on to the work of group 2. Rewrite the following, changing the active sentences to passive and passive sentences to active. Now we are going to transform it into either a passive form or an active form. So the number 1, please read, thousands of tourists visit the Grand Canyon every year. So this sentence is, yes, this sentence is an example of an active voice since the subject comes first, which is tourist, while the action is last, which is the visit. So it will be transformed into, the Grand Canyon was visited by thousands of tourists every year. For the number 2, we have, please read, instructions will be given to you by the director. So this sentence is a what? Yes, very good. It is a passive form of sentence since the action which is given comes first before the subject, which is the director. So it will be changed into, the director will give you the instructions. For the number 3, please read, Susan will bake 2 dozen of cupcakes for the bake sale. So the subject is, very good, Susan, while the action or the verb is bake. So we are going to change it into a passive form of sentence. So it will be changed into, 2 dozen cupcakes will be baked by Susan. Now, let us move on to the work of group 3. Arrange the given words to form the correct sentences in passive form. So we are going to arrange these jumbled words in order to create or form a passive form of sentence. So when we say passive form, it should be, yes, very good. It should be, the action should come first before the subject. So it will be, the comet was viewed by the science class. So in this sentence, the subject is, very good, science class, while the action or the verb is viewed. For the number 2, we have, the entire house was painted by Tom. So for this sentence, the subject is, very good, Tom, while the action or the verb is painted. Now, I have here some questions and I will call the student to answer the questions. Okay, please stand. When can you say that a sentence is in active voice or passive voice? Again, when can you say that a sentence is in active voice or in passive voice? Okay, very good. We can say that a sentence is in active voice if the subject is performing the action. And we can say that a sentence is in passive voice if the subject is no longer performing the action but the recipient of the action. Next, what are the rules to follow in transforming sentences from active to passive or vice versa? Yes, please stand. Okay, very good. What are the rules to follow? So, like what I said earlier, there are some steps to follow in order to change voice from passive to active or vice versa. We have the step 1, we have identify the subject, and for the step 2 we have very good, rewrite the sentence. Now, are you ready for your quiz? Okay, in a 1/2 sheet of paper, we have the directions. Identify the following sentences, whether it is in active voice or passive voice. And for the test 2, we have transform the following active sentences into passive and transform the following passive sentences into active. So I will only give you 5 minutes to prepare. This will be an individual activity. So your 5 minutes starts now. Okay, pass your papers in front, finished or not finished. For your assignment, we have in a 1/2 sheet of paper, construct 5 sentences in passive voice and 5 sentences in active voice. So you are going to write it in a 1/2 sheet of paper. Now arrange your chairs. So that will be all for today. Class dismissed.